I had the privilege of playing the role of Lina Lamont for this year's musical production, Singing in the Rain. I thought it would be appropriate to revive the character's voice to give you a little taste of one of the many ways Xenia Christian has presented an opportunity for me to stretch myself. Let me begin a little further back. I started to attend this school in 2nd grade. Being raised in a Christian home and going to church ever since I was a baby, Xenia Christian was not the first to introduce me to Christ, but it constantly contributed to the growth of my faith throughout my years in education. Whether in theater, athletics, or academics, the school always stressed the importance of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I learned how to glorify Him and worship Him while doing things for which He has given me a passion. I remember the first time I tried out for a sport here at XC, and by try out, I mean show up and make the team. I was so nervous and honestly pretty clueless about soccer, but excited nonetheless for a chance to be a part of a high school sports team. We had 2 young women, Cedarville University seniors, for our coaches, and it was a really great experience. Quickly realizing we wouldn't be first at the conference, or 2nd, or 3rd, or even 4th for that matter. They taught us how important it is to keep Christ the motive for playing soccer, to use a gift to bring glory to Him by our attitudes, our relationships with teammates, and our show of good sportsmanship to other players. It made the losses as well as the wins rewarded. Later that same year, I tried out for the musical Annie and had a similarly wonderful experience. Led by a committed director, he would start out practices with a devotion, which many times would include reminding us that this was just a production and to focus even more so on things eternally significant, like our relationship with God and with others around us. What a crazy thing for a director to say, to point to someone else to remind us that his show is less important, and how incredibly inspiring to be led by someone who humbly points to an even greater leader. Those lessons learned in my first year of high school were only the beginning of many. A change in soccer coach to Mr. Marty Isaacs did not mean a change in mindset, and he continued to teach us the value of keeping God at the center. I was introduced and became addicted to weightlifting, led by Coach Hart. I survived many near-death experiences in that room, as I was pushed beyond my self-perceived capability. The benefits of challenging yourself, enduring pain now to gain rewards later, and discovering the power of encouragement and motivation are all examples of how God used weightlifting to teach me a bigger picture perspective. Coach Hart was always very intentional about drawing parallels between that of a sweaty weight room and the journey of the Christian faith. AP English 12 taught me tremendously. One of the biggest lessons I learned is how much more I have left to learn. Miss Reno spoke into our lives with a contagious enthusiasm for knowledge, not only for an understanding of classic literature, but also for an understanding of the heart of God. Spanish classes with Señorita Clements were always a highlight, especially the more I actually understood what she was saying as the years progressed. The missions trip to Costa Rica during my junior year was especially influential. A total change in climate, culture, and circumstance, but the same constant Lord. Science classes with Mr. Brads and Mr. Holloway showed us the creative side of God. History classes with Mr. Thigpen showed us the divine authorship of God. And Bible classes with Mr. Kensinger and Mr. Searles showed us the supremacy and sovereignty of God. The academics at XC are challenging as well as God-glorifying, always carrying a tone of excellence and holding high standards. The educational bar pushed me beyond what I thought I could manage, and then further still, with teachers rooting for me to succeed all along the way. One of the great aspects about a smaller school is the family feel, a connectedness that I imagine is pretty hard to attain at schools with a graduating class of a couple hundred something. I always knew the teachers were there as on a mission field. They were never distant professors, but personable mentors, pouring into my life and the lives of the students around me. Their genuine concern for our well-being, spiritually as well as physically, has always been something I could depend on. I know each of them is sacrificing in some way to work at XC, and I don't think I could ever say thank you enough. Even so, thank you. You've all contributed to shaping us into who we are today, and challenged us to become even greater still. Your examples of faith and action have inspired our very own, and continue to motivate me personally. And how could I not thank this in class? We've traveled many years together, some more than others, but now we are all crossing the finish line at the same time. Every single one of you has made an impact in my life, and I can honestly say I'm real bummed we all aren't going to the same college next year. The memories have been sweet, and I wish you all the best as we go out into the world to create new ones. I'll miss you guys. I'd also like to thank my parents and my family for your support, for your provision, and for your love. My life is fuller because you all are a part of it. Last, and quite the opposite of least, I'd like to thank God, my Savior, for the undeserved privilege of a redeemed and renewed life, and for letting Xenia Christian be a part of that. I'm truly blessed, and though I have shut the doors of XC behind me, I eagerly anticipate the doors He will open ahead of me, knowing that this school will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you.